Good day, students. So welcome to our second lesson in statistical analysis with software applications. So under chapter nature of statistics, so the second lesson is the variables and types of data. Okay, for the learning outcome, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to first identify the types of data, and then the second one is identify the measurement level for each variable. So as stated in topic 1 or lesson 1, statistician gain information about a particular situation by collecting data for random variables. So in this section, we will explore in greater details the nature of variables and types of data. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the word variable, so let us define first what is variable. So according to its definition, it is an observable characteristic or attribute associated with a population or sample being studied which make one different from the other. So variable, it is a characteristic or attribute. So when we're going to recall the algebra, variable represent as x and y, right? Or any alphabet in the any letters in the alphabet, other. Okay, so that means that that x has represent is just only or y is just only a representation of a given number. Okay, so another definition is a variable is an item of interest that can take on many different numerical values. So in statistics and even in research, variable is the one of most important item in your statistics and research, because this variable is one of being studied, and then this is very important for us as researchers and statisticians, and then you as student who are going to do your research and thesis. So it is very important to identify the variables in your being in your studies or in your research. So variables also can be classified as qualitative and then quantitative. So now let us discuss the classification of variables. Okay, again, it is qualitative and then quantitative. Okay, so let us discuss first qualitative variables. So variables that can be placed into distinct categories according to some characteristic or attribute. Example niyan is civil status. So, under civil status, okay, yung mga attributes niya, mga characteristic niyan ay single, married, widow, divorced, something like that. In nationality, the Filipinos, American, Koreans, Japanese, okay, Swiss. Okay, so those are example of nationality. About the color, so we have white, black, red, maroon, yellow, orange, green, blue, violet. Okay, so there's a lot of color. And then even the zip code. So here in Mindoro, so the zip code start with number 5. So unlike in Bulacan, it starts with number 3. Okay, so qualitative variables can be also classified into two or more non-numeric categories according to the characteristic of attributes. So, ibig sabihin ng non-numeric, so hindi siya number. So, like civil status, nationality, color. So, those are attributes na hindi siya numbers. So, unlike zip code, number siya pero qualitative siya kasi yun yung ano niya, may distinct category siya. Ibig sabihin, distinct yung characteristic niya. At hindi siya computable. Okay. Next. So, sa qualitative variables, okay, meron tinatawag na dichotomous and then the multinomial. Okay, so sa dichotomous or dichotomic variables, sabi dyan, it can be made only into two categories. Meron lamang siyang dalawang categories. Okay, example, so we have the defective or non-defective, present or absent, yes or no. So, kumbaga, ito yung mga categories or qualitative variables which are answerable by only two categories, yes or no, Okay, present or absent, defective, and non-defective. Okay, so ganun lang siya. Okay, so unlike sa multinomial polynomic variables, sabi dyan, can be placed or can be made into more than two categories. More than two. So 3 pataas, multinomial siya or polynomic variables. Example, so educational attainment. So di ba ang educational attainment, hindi lang naman dalawang option doon. So merong elementary, graduate, high school graduate, senior high school graduate, okay, so college graduate, so on and so forth. Nationality, nabanggit ko na kanina, ang nationality ng tao hindi lang nahahati sa dalawa. Even yung brand ng soft drinks, hindi lang naman sa dalawa yon. So there are a lot of brand ng soft drinks that we have even here in the Philippines. Okay, next, let's now go to quantitative variables. Okay, quantitative variables are classified according to numerical values. So kanina, sa qualitative variables, nabanggit naman natin yung zip code, which is number. Pero kung tutusin, it is not measurable and countable. Okay, hindi rin siya nako-compute kasi distinct lang yung ano niya. Distinct lang yung representation ng number na yon. Ibig sabihin yung zip code, di ba? Okay, so example ng mga quantitative variables, so age, weight, price of car, annual income, market sales, test scores. Okay, so kung papansinin natin, lahat na yan ay numerical value. Okay, pwede ba natin sabihin na ang age ay A? Ano yung age mo? A. Diba? So, pag sinabing age number yan, nag-represent. Okay, dito, nagbibilang tayo, nako-compute din natin. Okay, so under quantitative variable rather, so meron tinatawag na discrete and then continuous. Ano yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa na to? Okay, so discrete variable, so assume values that can be counted. Can be assigned values such as 0, 1, 2, 3, and are said to be countable. Okay, sa discrete variables, ang keyword natin dyan, kailangan siya ay countable. At ang keyword natin, kapag mag-identify tayo ng variable, may makikita tayong a number of. Sabihin, binibilang siya, countable siya. That's also, it can also assume value only at a specific point or scale, okay, of values with gap between them. Okay, variables whose values are result for counting or result of counting. Kapag ang resulta nito ay sa pagbibilang, discrete variable yon. So variables, sabi ko nga kanina, result siya ng counting. Okay, examples, numbers of days in a week, numbers of children in the family, numbers of students in the classroom, number of house and lots sold in a particular day, numbers of people visiting a bank, and number of teachers in schools. So those are examples of discrete variables. Okay, next, continuous variables can assume an infinite number of values between any two specific values. They are obtained by measuring. Okay, they often include fraction and decimal. So variables that can assume any numerical value a certain interval or it is a result of measurement. Okay, so kung sa discrete nabibilang, sa continuous nasusukat. Okay, nakita yung pagkakaiba nun. Okay, so discrete, countable, continuous, measurable. Examples, so we have weight, height, volume, area, density, and temperature. Then sabi dito, the time spent you serve a customer by a department store or cashier. Even sa favorite ko na McDonald's. Okay, so minsan binibilangan ko yung yung cashier. Kasi before I was I was formerly working at McDonald's in Bulacan. So we have only tinatawag na 60 seconds rule. So kapag receive namin sa customer, dapat 60 seconds wala na siya. So minsan binibilangan ko yun. Okay. Next, level of measurement. The level of measurement, nandiyan dyan si nominal, si ordinal, interval, and then ratio. Okay, let us look the differences between those measurement level. Okay, so nominal. Let's start with nominal. Sabi dyan, classifies data into mutually exclusive, non-overlapping categories in which no order or ranking can be imposed on a data. Kapag ang number or numerical data ay walang ini-impose na order at ranking, wala siyang order, wala rin siyang ranking, okay, so under nominal data siya. Okay, so for example, gender, okay, political affiliation, civil status, nationality, okay, car dealers, and then religion. Okay, kung titignan natin siya, wala silang order. Okay, sa gender, di ba, male or female. Okay, wala namang lalo na sa atin yung equality na tinatawag. Okay, and then political application. Sabi rin dito, it is a measurement scale that involves the processing or process of naming or labeling the item by placing cases into categories and counting their frequency of occurrences. Okay, classifying residents according to zip codes is also an example of a nominal level of measurement. So even though numbers are assigned to zip code, okay, so there is no meaningful order or ranking. So yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, na kahit number yung sa zip code, under siya ng categorical kasi nga wala namang wala siyang order, wala siyang ranking na okay, na sinusunod. Next, ordinal. Okay, classifies data into categories that can be ranked. However, precise differences between the ranks do not exist. Okay, kung si nominal walang rank, si ordinal may rank. Okay, so ordinal na order, di ba? Yung root word niya, order. So in this case, one is said to be greater than the less, or less than to the other. Okay, it is a measurement scale that yields information about the ordering of categories. For example, honor roll, ranking of faculty members, evaluation of products, level of job performance. Okay, so those are example of ordinal data. Okay, next is the interval data. Okay, ranks data and precise differences between units and measure do not exist. However, there is no meaningful zero. Sabi dito, zero does not mean the absent of it. Okay, does not have a true zero. Okay, it is a measurement scale that shows order of cases into categories considering and indicating the exact difference between the among cases. Interval. Actually, yung lang naman dito natin, si zero yung pinaka natin dito, pinaka interest natin, point of interest natin dito. Example, so examination. Okay, so ang zero ba kinakount sa score? Yes. For example, mag-conduct ako ng first quiz sa inyo. Okay, at nakuha mo ay zero. So, syempre, i-record ko siya. Okay, how about temperature? Do you believe to 0 degrees Celsius? Yes. Sabi nga dyan sa gilid natin na may thermometer. So, 0 degrees Celsius is equivalent to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. How about this one, the longitude and latitude? Okay, di ba merong location sa globe natin? Then the military time. Okay, what is the equivalent ng 0000? 00 hours, 00 minutes. That is 12 a.m. Okay. Next, ratio. possesses all the characteristic of interval measurements, and there exists a true zero. So dito, nag-i-exist si zero as nothing. Okay? So, as wala. Hindi kasali, parang ganon. In addition, three ratios exist in the same variable is measured in two different members of population. Sabi dito, zero means the absence of it. So, hindi kasali si zero. So, kung sa interval, kasali si zero, kabilang si zero, sa ratio, hindi kabilang si zero. Example, measurements of weights, heights, length, and ages. Okay, meron bang weight na zero? Hindi, di ba? Magwe-weight din tayo ng grams, milligrams. Okay. So, height, wala naman zero height. The length. Okay, so ito pa yung mga example ng measurement scale natin under nominal data. Zip code, gender, male or female, eye color, blue, green, brown, hazel. Political affiliation, religious affiliation, major field, mathematics, computer science, dito accounting, di ba? Meron pa tayong mga courses under din siya ng nominal data. Okay, nationality. Ordinal, so yung grade na A, B, C, D, E, F. Yung judging, first, second, third, etc. Okay, so rating scale, poor, good, excellent. So ranking of tennis players. So interval data, so yung score, yung mga score natin dyan, IQ test, temperature, and then ratio level of data, we have height, weight, time, salary, and then age. Okay, so kindly wait for my for your activity number 2 in Google Classroom. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for listening. And God bless.